What is the benefit of mulching your vegetable garden with cardboard boxes? Well, a few months ago, I used cardboard boxes and newspaper that we got in the mail and cardboard boxes from buying large items from the store, and I turned them apart and I mulch some part of my garden with it. So I'm going to take a look at how that improve those areas. So you can see that I have some of the boxes here that I just took out right now. In fact, I was wondering if I can use it on my asparagus. But first, let's take a look at here. When I was mulching with cardboard, you can see I still have some, and what I try to do here is smothering the grass so that it's not too close to the center block, since I cannot mow that close, and I have some onion growing there as well, so it'll keep the ground moist for them, but then slow down the grass. And you can see that the grass is kind of whitish, and you can see that the onion are doing just fine. Even this dandelion is still okay, and I can just take all of this out. You can see that clearly where the boss is was white, the grass is white compared to where it was not, and you can see the onion growing underneath it here. That's the onion, and I'm going to put those back. And I tried to mulch this because the ground was quite dry. I don't water my garden, so what I did is I put some of the newspaper here, and you can see that the ground is on the soft side, and you can see that area as well. Yeah, is on the soft side. And pretty much even 10-pound sugar box package, I put it as a blue, and I just break them and put them here. But let's continue getting the garden. I might just use this as well, but I have leaves that I'm breaking, and I'm going to take that with me. And you can see that I put some on the pathway here. And you can see onions are growing underneath the box, but the ground is free of weed. I'm going to take the box because I feel like I might use it probably here, and I'm going to take my leaves here. In fact, there is one plant here that I mulched with the car box that same day, and that's the car box here. And pretty much there's some sorrel here that was growing, and that's that. Can you see it? Yeah, it was a very not in good shape, but that's a sorrel that really grow well for me. But this year it was not in good shape, and I put some corn husks here, and I put the cardboard. In fact, you can see one there as well. I have thistle here that I don't really want to touch. Let me see if I can move it out of your way. But you can see that I put a cardboard there, and I put one here. The reason why I kept it away from me, because that sort of try to expand. So I don't want to block it too much, but I want the moisture to stay in the ground around the roots. So I put a few inches away from the plants so that I can keep the ground moist. And yes, it's now wet, but it's now dry. So now it's fall, November 7. I'm raking leaves. That's a plant I will mulch with leaves. So I'm just walking the garden to see the plants during the season. I pay attention to the plants that will require mulching, and then when I'm raking leaves, I'll take a look at the garden again, remembering those plants to visit them, so that I know how I can, what I need to mulch, what I need to prioritize, because I have leaves, but I don't have a lot of it. So here we have perennial arugula. So you can see the arugula here, and I have it for 3 years, I think. But that's the year that it has been very, well, I have to say that's the only plant this year that did very well for me, and a few others. But what I did at that time, it barely started growing. When I did this, I put the box here. So in fact, by doing that, I think I put it on the plant as well. You can notice that it has some leaves here that are a little bit white, but it slowed down the creeping Charlie, and I just want to keep the ground moist. And it didn't even kill the strawberry here. So it's just sitting there, and it really expands. Don't know what the plant is doing. The one thing you need to keep in mind when you are mulching with cardboard box, but you want to let your plant go to seed and grow back, set the seed, you want it to leave little space between around the plant so that the seed can fall back on the ground, because if they fall on the cardboard box, then they may not grow. So that's a perennial, keep coming back, but it has seeds. I let it go to seeds, and it's November 7, 2020, but I'm not sure this is going to dry because we already got snow. So, but the plant is doing very well. One plant, one arugula, and is pretty much here. And I have another plant of arugula here that was very small, and I mulched it with cardboard box. Can you see the cardboard box there? And pretty much I left little space between the plant and the cardboard box. And frankly, after a month or two, when I came back, I noticed that it just grew a lot compared to how it was. So it really kept the ground moist enough for the plant to do its thing. So I removed the cardboard box, and you can see the ground here. It was full of creeping Charlie, and by the way, when I came, I removed some creeping Charlie to mulch the plant. That's what I used to do. I removed some creeping Charlie to mulch it, but then I say, you know what, I'm going to use the cardboard that I'm mulching with to mulch the ground. And you can see that it died, the creeping Charlie died down a little bit here, and the ground is moist, so that really helped the plant. So one benefit of having cardboard box and using it is it keep the ground moist. One. Second is cellulose made out of trees. Yeah, trees were used to make the cardboard box. So when it breaks down, it's going to be a compost. Is a brown matter is going to nourish the ground. So pretty much it's like composting at the same time. 3 is going to keep your weed at bay. Do you see I have creeping Charlie here? That's a ground cover. That's edible. And do you see when I put the cardboard box here, they dive down. But where I don't have the cardboard, you can see them. And I have another cardboard box here, and I can remove it, and you can see the difference. Do you see it? So you can use cardboard box to smother weeds in the garden to keep the ground moist around your plants, and to fertilize your plants when they break down, because they will break down, and that's just a tree matter returning back to its original place. So this year I started to collect those boxes that we had. Instead of putting it in the trash, I said, you know what, I can just tear some apart and just mulch the garden where I have a lot of weed, because I have a lot of creeping Charlie, and I use them in salad, but I don't really try to weed the garden. So it's just better I put cardboard boxes around. So when I saw this arugula doing very well, and I link it to the cardboard box, I said to myself that I'm going to use it to mulch my asparagus. And what I like to do with the cardboard box, I don't like to put it too close to the plants. So those cardboard box that we brought, I have this arugula here, and I do asparagus, and I just put leaves on it. But before I did that, I dug well to look at it, and the crown is above the ground. And I'm just going to show it to you here. You see, that's the asparagus here, and that's the crown right there. That's the crown here at ground level, up above the ground. That's the ground here. So I really want to mulch it so that it survives, because I have more than one in the garden, and over the years I lost some of them. So I put the leaves here, but the thing is the leaves will break down very quickly by the end of next summer. So what I like to do is, before I even put leaves, what I like to do now is putting the cardboard box down, and I can cover it with the leaves. So I'm just going to get the leaves away. Maybe I should put the camera down. So I'm going to, the crown is here, and asparagus, they shoot asparagus peel from the ground. So I'm going to put the boxes, but not too close to the crown, because I'm not trying to smother the plant itself. I'm just trying to keep weed away from it and keep the ground moist. So the root is away from the, the root is in the ground, deep and wide. So I'm just going to keep the ground moist around so that I'm going to mulch around so that the ground can be moist where the roots can find moisture to feed the plant. So yeah, I think I like it. The root is here. I have a cardboard box here. I can even move it further. I have one there. I like to put one on this side too. And I'm using a, don't want to, and then I have one there. And I put one here. So I have it here. You can see it. I have it here. And then I put those boxes around. So now I'm going to mulch it with the leaves, making sure I don't move my this one is not going to stay in one spot because I have log on the ground that they are touching. Let me see. Okay. Make sure it can be on the flat surface here. Okay. And now I'm going to get the, I'm not even going to put those leaves back. I'm just going to go get the bucket. And I'm back with my bucket. And I'm just going to mulch it. Yeah. Still have a few more of the boxes, but I can just put them somewhere. But that's the benefit of using cardboard boxes. If you have them, it is free, you know. When you have them, you can mulch your garden. You don't need to go buy mulch. And I bought hay in the past, and I've been planning of buying it this year, but I'm not going to, because I'm trying to see free ways I can mulch the garden. I have got trucks loads from the city of wood chips that I mulch the garden with originally, but they are not doing it anymore. You can go get it yourself, but we don't have truck. So I use 4 leaves, and I have been doing that for some years now. And I started doing it already. And that scale here that I put a bunch of leaves around, and I have a tree here that is falling, dropping leaves in the garden as well, and it's free. 4 leaves, you are going to clean up your front yard anyway. So while not mulching with it, I don't spray our grass, so I can use those grass. I can use those 4 leaves, and that trees around the property or on the properties, they pull nutrients from the ground, the soil, the ground, and it is, some of them are in the leaves. So when the leaves fall in fall, why not letting it break down in the ground to return those nutrients back to the soil? Otherwise, this soil will be empty of those nutrients over time. So instead of raking and paying a company to haul those leaves away from my property, I like to use it to mulch my plant, and they break down very fast. by next fall, the ground, in fact by next summer, the ground will be dry in some area. So that's that, and that's just returning those nutrients back to the ground to, you know, to make a cycle, to close the cycle of the process. So I have plenty of things here that I will mulch, but if you have compost and you are trying to figure out how to mulch your ground with your garden, that's one way of doing it. I don't water my garden. I don't even have time for that, and that's how I grow our vegetables, by trying to decrease our grocery bill and put our money to work for us. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Afiavi Ojune Liberman, creators of Liberman Consulting LLC YouTube channel, owners of Nina Soap, our blog, and our natural product store, ninassoap.com, and our apparel, our custom apparel store and stationery, liberlabel.com. Thank you so much for watching our videos. Thank you for your comments. Thank you all that subscribe. Thank you so much. Stay safe.